Stars, Earthshot is Prince William's baby, his brainchild, and his hope for his legacy. But did he steal the idea from scientist Ignace Shops? And did he spend most of the money on everything but the prizes for scientists? Prince William spent £12.1 million on Earthshot. Only $5 million was the prize money. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have operated the Royal Foundation without the Sussexes since 2019. That's the year that Meghan and Harry left the foundation to start their own. It's always been clear that Meghan took one look at the Royal Foundation's operations and was severely unimpressed. She reportedly only agreed to do her cookbook through the Royal Foundation if the money could be walled off from other foundation money and given directly to the Hub Community Kitchen. Well, even though the Sussexes quit the foundation in 2019, the British papers still think they deserve a mention when discussing the foundation's finances. Royal couple William and Kate's charity has gone from strength to strength since they split from Harry and Meghan, new figures show. Income for the Royal Foundation of the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge leapt from $6.7 million in 2019 to $20.4 million in 2021. It comes after Meghan and Harry left the charity in September 2019 and set up their own Archwell Foundation. The Sussexes charity received less than $50,000 in gross receipts in 2020, according to the U.S. Internal Revenue Service. Yesterday, their UK charity, Sussex Royal, was finally dissolved. It changed its name to MWX Foundation when they lost their royal titles. The financial boost for the Cambridge's charity allowed it to almost double its charitable expenditure to £16.4 million. Three-quarters of the total, £12.1 million, was spent on their environmental awards, the Earthshot Prize, which handed out 5 £1 million grants to the winners. But the Royal Foundation spent $12.1 million on Earthshot, and yet only $5 million of that was the actual prize money to the Earthshot Prize winners, which means the Royal Foundation spent £7.1 million on vague Earthshot keenery, on making a big fancy boring Earthshot Prize ceremony in London, and people think this is what makes William and Kate sound good. What it says to me is that William was given millions from corporate sponsors, partners, specifically for Earthshot, and he misused the funds. Additionally, William and Kate were able to raise so much money for the Royal Foundation because they were hijacking charitable donations and filtering them through the foundation. When they got access to the National Emergencies Trust donor list, they used the list to raise money and direct donations to the Royal Foundation. They set up the foundation's COVID-19 response fund, which acted as a middleman to give money to other charities. The real reason the Sun is using numbers for the Sussex Royal Foundation and MWX is because Meghan and Harry were forced to abandon them when they left the UK in 2020. They don't have to release their Archwell numbers publicly, but I would imagine the Sussexes have raised a good deal of money from corporate sponsors as well, specifically in Silicon Valley. Star's Richard Eden was crowing in a piece about the Royal Foundation donations soaring in 2020 after the Sussexes left. Then he went on to say how the Royal Foundation received a £2.59 million grant from the American Friends of the Royal Foundation of the D&D of Cambridge. What he intentionally didn't share was that 90% of the donations to the American Friends extension most likely came in the form of monies from the Americans that are considered founding partners of Earthshot, which Will announced on December 31st, 2019, like Mike Bloomberg, Mark Benioff, and the Allen Foundation. The general population of the U.S. were not donating to the Royal Foundation's American extension. The annual reports are interesting reads if you have the time and the patience. It was a very expensive ceremony. It's the one where we see the images of Kate Middleton in that green screen green dress that's slightly off the shoulder cap, and where Will kind of shakes off her attempt to hold his hand as they cross the red carpet. We do wonder, if they had all that money, what is the impact of the prizes given and the ceremony? How many lives, how many, sort of parts of the world ecology were improved? Because we never hear anything about impact, right? Is it a show? Is it just cosplay and clout chasing? And, what about this man, Ignace Shops, who is the person who talked about Earthshot specifically in relationship to President Kennedy and the kind of timeline for improving the environment, much like Kennedy encouraged people to reach the moon way back when. It doesn't add up, and that's the bottom line. As much, critique as there is about Harry and Meghan as a distraction from A, where is Kate? As a distraction from B, what is going on with this scheme to talk about the environment, right? And do that virtue signaling with no impact outside of public relations and marketing. One person, Digital Unicorn, comments, the royal family is a money laundering scheme, plain and simple. I'm sure that they got loads of advice on how to do that from Chuck and Carol / Uncle Gary. It's only a matter of time until the press start actually reporting on William's financial shenanigans instead of Chuck's. I know he has at least one super injunction on his keen pegging, but I think there is another to cover the shadiness with the royal family. Alexandria adds, the British press can look like they try, but the royal family still escapes everything and claims everything was above board, approved by the board, and nobody pursues it. Even Andrew is still there. Full title, full security protection. He's not clipping coupons to go to Tesco. And he still doesn't have a job at Quiznos. I think that the reputation of all these entities will still be fine in England no matter what the reality is. Smart and Messy adds, I'm sure those corporate sponsors, egg badgered for Earshot, knew exactly how it went right down the drain. But they got their tax breaks and don't give a shite, I guess, although it would be hilarious if one of his big name donors called him out. Scorpion says it's giving money laundering. Shauna adds, in my opinion, Earthshot is an excuse for nepotism jobs. It's why the people around the Cambridges prop up their keenery so hard. Cushy jobs. Sue E. Generous says, and tax deductions. Punk Princess PhD says, nepotism jobs. See, for example, Nauf, Jason. Queen Muman adds, I don't understand everything that goes into the charitable activities line item on the report. It sounds like it's a hodgepodge of everything they basically want to hide. Salaries, travel expenses, clothes, etc. And that line item is higher than the actual expenditures to the charities. And that's what's so crazy. Is it something built to help the people while you're getting basically welfare money from the British taxpayer? Or is something else going on? Is there real service delivery? Is there real impact on the environment? Even in terms of awareness, right? If we could get some kind of report about impressions or how many people grew aware of things to be done to help correct climate change. But I don't think it's that far-reaching or thorough going. I'd be curious to know what you think.